notebooks fit in there?
There's the one notebook that fits in there. It's not a very...
I know. That's why I was wondering if like the little notebooks would fit there. Just because you have all the tons of notebooks.
We're still figuring out the logistics of the new desk. And how we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna have the race on in the background, so hopefully NASCAR's cooler about that kind of thing than the NHL is.
See it with how you're standing.
I just want to see Martin Truex win it. So since there's only 130 laps left,
still forever. Yeah, you're fine on time. You won't miss anything.
I will miss plenty. There's going to be probably accidents.
Round and round. And commercials. You'll miss a gajillion commercials.
All right.
So many commercials.
So, back in we go with Into the Void, volumes 1 to 3, and Run's on its way. So...
I haven't ever read that one, so that's fun.
Didn't you read the start of it?
I didn't. I read all of this. Well, no, I didn't finish 5.
Do you even remember what 5 is about?
I remember lots of craziness and people being all over the place. So
okay,
that's about it's like this. It's been so many years that I don't remember a lot of it. But then there are certain scenes that you read. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Okay. It is unacceptable that E-215 got away. Reports that the relic from the past has been sighted disturb Geyer. This plan had been in motion for centuries and will end with his fulfilling his own prophecies. He had to be the one that leads Altel to ultimate victory. I read this, didn't I? I think I read this part already. The concept of parallel universes had fascinated Geyer from early childhood. Yep. All right.
Yes.
Next scene. Age would have ravaged Dradgen, but he is resilient and wise. He has managed to maintain his appearance over the centuries as well as anyone of his kind might. While humans routinely live between 80 and 100 years, Altarians can live for centuries. The only beings in the galaxy who have been known to live longer were people from Conley, a world only Addison Marks had survived. The fact Dradgen had used the years to acquire knowledge was well known. He had never been much of a military general and transitioned into the role of an advisor very easily. He had spent the last 150 years in particular looking into the mysteries of the universe which had never been cracked on Altair, Earth, or Faltaries. He'd learned fast and had tried to write down as much as he'd learned so that his findings would live on after he was gone. The concept of time travel made sense to Dradgen, and he believed that it was very possible, but that it required a tremendous amount of gravity and mathematical knowledge that was beyond his range. He greatly desired unlocking the secrets to time travel, as he believed as well that the Altilians had knowledge of how to make it happen. He is sitting in the middle of his quarters, a three-dimensional projector displaying a large cluster of stars around him, making him feel like he's there amongst them. It is relaxing and reminds him that there's beauty in the universe, even while wars and suffering had been seen over the centuries. This is where he spends at least an hour every day. It tends to center him and allow him to deal with the more trying parts of life when he's outside of his quarters. He doesn't deal with Alan Webster much. He respects his leadership ability and his willingness to continue fighting, a war that many would deem as unnecessary. Dradgen stays out of his way and offers advice when it's called for, but he doesn't go beyond that.
That would be awesome. Can I have one of those star things? Yes, please. If you could get on that, that'd be great.
I can't make that.
Wouldn't that be awesome, though?
Uh-huh.
I think it sounds really neat.
Okay.
Yes, please, do that.
The war itself upsets him as it seems so hopeless, and the slavery of his people has carried on for far too long. He had sworn that he would free them, and it ate away at him that he had not. It is unusual for someone to knock on his door while he's relaxing, but he takes a moment, comes back to reality before he responds to it. Yes, come in, he says after turning the lights on and turning off the projector. The door opens and Dradgen's stunned to see his old friends there before him. He takes turns hugging Nathan, John, and Carissa before he turns to John with a smile on his face. How? We were hoping you might be able to tell us, John says, looking Dradgen over in shock at how well the Altarian had aged. Outside of the odd wrinkle here and there, the man looks identical to the one he had seen just prior to leaving on the E-215 headed for the center of the galaxy. Well, come in and sit, all of you. he says as he leads his old friends into his room. It's become a very good day for him indeed. Dradgen heads for his fridge and retrieves a bottle of wine for the occasion, complete with a tray covered in wine glasses. He sets the tray in the middle of the coffee table, and then sits the wine bottle off to the side, careful not to leave it too close to the edge. This is truly amazing. I assume you're here from the past, then. Good guess, Carissa says as she pours herself a glass of wine. This might help the headache. So E215 disappeared into the future. That makes a lot of sense. I went with Mike Translow and we found nothing. Addison worked with me on locating your ship, and we had theories regarding time travel, but we never knew for sure, Dradgen explains as he sits in a recliner that faces a large sectional sofa his company's sitting on. He looks quizzically at Jason Marcus. Do I know you? No, sir, Jason says, feeling like a fish out of water. I was meeting with Alan when they arrived. It got weird after that. Well, the whole day's been weird, really. I was on Earth at the beginning, a little crazy and homicidal. Now I'm still crazy and just really confused. Dradgen scowls. There's still Altilian blood on your hands, my friend. You may have washed it off by your standards, but I can still see it. It is a shame you had to resort to hand-to-hand combat and murder to escape Earth. I had never anticipated things would be this bad for your people. Maybe now we can fix it. How? John asks. Dradgen's face brightens again as his eyes meet John's. Your family was always willing to do anything for the greater good. Your brother Jim died in battle. Rob and Steve managed to become generals in their own right, and they won their share of battles by their own intelligence. I remember one battle in a horseshoe-shaped crater on Callisto. Normally I would love to hear this story, but we need to get these guys home, Alan says. There's no one I know other than you who might be able to get these guys home. Dradgen takes a long, deep breath and lets it out slowly. He mumbles something under his breath before he stands, and he heads to the window and looks out at the stars. I have been among the heavens for so very long. I think I lost my hope somewhere along the way. And I'd like to help. It is just so very hard now. He slowly turns and faces his old friends. I'm not the man you once knew. Like hell you're not, Nathan says. He stands and stares Dradgen in the eyes. The Dradgen I worked beside, the Altarian man I knew and respected, never gave up. That's what made you a great man. You always gave us good advice after the disaster on Arcology 1237, and then the fusion explosion that killed so many on Earth. You were a rock, and you're not going to convince me that you're not still that man. Maybe the war turned out badly for you, but we're here. We're here from a time when it's not so horrible, and if you can get us back, this future can be prevented. Dradgen steps away from the window and over to Nathan. He touches Nathan's shoulder with his hand and pats it like a father might do to his son. I had always wondered how things might have gone if you had not died. Well, we thought you died. You were the best and brightest. You were Division 1. You stood for courage and hope. Losing you was really difficult for everyone. Mike took it really hard. He second-guessed himself when it came to dangerous assignments or dealing with the unknown. It led to his marriage splitting up and he died alone, a broken man. That doesn't have to happen, Nathan says. With your help, we can prevent all of that. Dradgen looks down at the floor for a moment. He speaks without looking up. I've looked into time travel. I know it is possible. I know you need extreme gravitational forces and a knowledge of mathematics that will let you move through both space and time. We know all about wormholes in space that act as shortcuts from one point to another, but the wormhole between 2 points in time is the real gift waiting to be discovered. Has anyone tried to this point? John asks. Well, yes, I believe the Altilians have tried and succeeded. There's no other way to explain their ability to dominate this war. They're not stronger than us. They don't outnumber us. They are just one step ahead of us. They always seem to know things they have no right knowing. I have no explanation for that, but no one believes me. Try us, Carissa says with a shrug. It's not like we're going anywhere. I believe Geyer is alive, Dradgen says. Alan rolls his eyes. We've been over this. We saw Geyer die. I believe he staged that. Yeah, but he died. Pure evil doesn't die, not like that, Dradgen says, anger in his voice. He then turns to Jason. You were brought here by Alan for your knowledge of weapons, I believe. This was foolish. Saving my life was foolish? Jason asks. No, bringing you here was foolish. There are spies amongst us ready to sell us out to Geyer, Dradgen explains. Alan is starting to regret bringing them here. This is the thing with Dradgen, he says to the others. Over the years, he's developed these conspiracy theories and clings to them desperately. I've tried to assure him that Geyer is dead and that we do thorough background checks on everyone who works for us. Do not speak as if I'm not here, Dradgen snaps. I'm not a fossil, Alan. I respect you as the commander of the fleet, but you will respect me as an elder, as one who's seen centuries of bad things happen to good people. The Altilians have repeatedly proven they are smarter than us. They have showed that they are more ruthless by killing their own if they dare question the Altilian leadership. That doesn't mean Geyer's alive or that his people or that people on this ship are going to send information to the enemy regarding Jason Marcus, Alan responds. Why are you not listening? John asks as he stands face to face with a man who is 6 generations his junior, but technically outranks him at the moment. Dradgen's a wise man, but he's paranoid, Alan says, backing away from John out of respect. I brought you here because he's been studying the theories involving time travel. If anyone has the answers, it's him. I just don't want to get this sidetracked into a witch hunt for Geyer or spies amongst us. This is a very important time for us. John looks over at Nathan and Carissa. So we arrive in the future, and the leader, Falteres, brings us to a man we know, and now he's going to tell us how to treat him. You knew him centuries ago, Alan says. It's still Dradgen, Nathan says. Look, we can work this out with him. I'm sure you have other military things to discuss with Jason here. You guys go and discuss those things, and we'll catch up with him. This is my ship, Alan points out. And this is our friend, Carissa says, pointing a finger at Dradgen. You don't own him unless things have really changed over the last 200 years and not for the better. Nothing has changed for the better, John says with a laugh. The entire timeline is a mess because we came here. Now, if Altilians have been working their way back and forth through time, that makes Dradgen our best friend right now. Also, Jason Marcus isn't going anywhere. Why not? Jason asks, wondering what he did wrong. The weapon we saw strike Altil and kill millions was your creation, and that makes you a person of interest, and the fact we saw it means Dradgen is right about time travel by the Altilians, and likely he is also right about them there being spies aboard. John looks Alan right in the eye. I'm taking both of them with us on E215. No chance. Alan stands before John, arms folded across his chest, and any familial affection is gone now. This has developed into a standoff between the two. John actually laughs. Are you kidding me? You respect us and you respect Dradgen, but you're going to stand here and block us from doing anything to change the timeline? I'm not standing around and just letting things be as they are. If Geyer is alive and he's pulling the strings, you need to wake the hell up and change your strategy. We aren't the past. We're the key to a better future, and you're blocking it is the same as Dave Bellows and Cale Rightly tried to do at the start of this war. How'd that turn out for them again? Alan slowly steps to the side and allows John to lead a small group out of Dradgen's quarters. He doesn't follow them out, still believing they're heading down the wrong path and that he's right on this issue. He actually stands in Dradgen's quarters for a while after they've left and thinks over everything that's happened. If there's a new timeline, does this mean he'll never be born? So we go to E215 and do what exactly, Carissa asks. I mean, it's cool and all, but I want to know exactly what we're going to do there. We're outgunned pretty badly. It's time we take this to the next level, John says. Carissa looks at Nathan and he nods. I like the sound of that as much as you do. Next scene. Gora stands at the control panel and manages to isolate the files which Sabal would be unable to access as they no longer exist within Altilian archives. His mind races as he knows now what he has to do, and he hopes the sequence of videos allows him the chance to carry out what would have been his father's wishes. It's all about preventing the death of his father. That's why he's here. The image of Geyer appears on the main window and everybody tenses up. The images of Geyer aboard what appears to be a simple Altilian fighter. Single man without any hint that there is any ships along for the ride with him. I've mastered time travel, he begins. I have arrived 200 years in the future, and I am now on my way to Altel. I'll be greeted as a king, as a god, as I will appear to have been resurrected. My carefully orchestrated death went off without a hitch, and my son can now rule in my stead. Our enemies only think they've taken the head off the beast. Addison stifles his words. He hasn't seen Geyer since the destruction of his homeworld of Conley. Just the sight of the evil Altilian's face fills him with rage, the kind which cannot be expressed in words. As much as he'd like to snap Gora's neck and take Ver out as well, he instead watches with his teeth clenched so tightly that his jaw's beginning to hurt. The image of Geyer becomes static for a moment, and then a new timestamp is seen before we see Geyer aboard his ship again. He appears to be on the run, laser fire exploding around the cockpit and missiles almost hitting their target. The image of Geyer running in fear is met with optimism by everyone witnessing this video that is not of Altilian descent. I was greeted with gunfire, I was greeted with scorn. I was accused of being sent here by Falteres as a spy. This is a terrible future, and now they've sent a weapon after me which I fear will destroy whatever lies in its path. Geyer then shows the steel ball pursuing them, same one which struck Altel in the past. I cannot get this weapon off my trail. It must be able to trace my exhaust, and so I must destroy my ship or risk being killed. I do not know how long I will have once I stop. I do not know if this weapon has the ability to speed up or change its direction away from the ship. I only know it was sent by my own people as a means to destroy me and take my life. I still have faith that I can be a martyr to fulfill Ultilian prophecy. What is it with your people and prophecy? Addison asks. He's silenced as everyone turns and glares at him, the image of Geyer still on the screen. I'll now send this message into the past and to my son. Never allow anyone to know what has happened here and avenge my death. Do whatever you must do, Gora, to honor my life and my memory. The image on the screen then turns to snow for a few moments before it ends. Gora turns and smiles at his captors. Now I take my leave of you, he says, and the lights on the Vindicator go out. A large ship engulfs the Vindicator and panic ensues. Mike can't see Gora or Ver anymore. He moves to the firing controls and fires missiles at whatever's around them, only to find he's unable to carry out any kind of attack. The ship that has sat over them has taken that power away. Addison rushes to the navigation controls and tries to bring them to life. There's a reserve power source he's going to try and tap into. He presses the button to reset the panel, and then he turns a switch to the backup power. It's just a hunch, and the ship roars to life. Addison then opens fire before their attackers have a chance to react, and he uses thrusters to drop out of the ship straight down. Mike can only watch as this goes on, his heart in his throat. He knows that Addison's the best man at this, and he needs to work without any kind of orders being thrown at him. Mike knows deep down that he had been lied to by he'd been had by Gora, and he feels like a fool. If they survive this assault, he'll kill Gora. That's the primary goal at this point. The Vindicator pitches and rolls to evade fire from the Ultilian ship they can now see above them. It's a larger version of the ships that attacked their allies at Earth. Not that they would know that yet. They can see two escape pods headed towards the Ultilian ship, and Addison takes aim at them, but Mike stops him. Mike, I can kill them right now. No, let them screw themselves here, Mike says. The only order he's going to give Addison right now. Trust me, Marks, they're not getting away with this. Addison just nods while continuing to fire at their attackers and then sets the controls to take them to Falteres. The wormhole opens moments later, and they emerge next to a world they know too well. Addison lets out a sigh and wipes sweat from his brow. I hit them hard, Mike. I don't know if we did any damage at all. They never hit us, though, Jim says, and he points out the window ahead of them. Is that E-215, or am I losing my mind? What the hell's going on? Mike asks. We've been had, Addison says in as rhetorical a tone as he can manage. And this ship kicked ass, Jim adds, patting the control panel Addison had used to evade the Ultilian blaze of firepower. And yeah, last scene in this chapter of the book. Gora and Ver each step out of the escape pods and head towards one another. How, is all Ver can manage to say. I came back to save my father. I traced the timestamp on the videos we just watched, and we're here 1 week before those events occur. We're here before the death of my father, and we're on the ship he commands, Gora says with a smile. Ver can't believe this is really happening. They are free thanks to the actions of Gora, and they're free in a manner that ensures they will not have to face Sabal. There's no doubt Sabal would kill them both, as he wants to keep his spot as leader of Ultil. What do we do now, then, he asks Gora. You face me, Geyer says as he storms into the landing bay. He quickly makes his way across the metal floor, his heavy boots thundering as he strides towards Gora and Ver. Geyer then draws his gun and shoots Ver in the chest, sending him to the floor without giving him a chance to defend himself. He then grabs his son by the throat. You have failed me. But we are winning. I know. I've seen the future you live in, Gora says, well aware his father could kill him right now and no one would ever know. He felt helpless in a jail cell in the Peace Restorer, exactly the same as this. You came here as we agreed. You brought me Mike Translow, and the Webster brothers are here. I know John and Jim are here, and they are the most important two of the four. The ship you came here in I'm not familiar with, and I cannot understand what's going on, Geyer says, his hand still around his son's throat. The choke is not a full-on choke, or Gora would already be dead. Is it the Vindicator, and I don't know what to say... It is the Vindicator, and I don't know what to say regarding its existence. Earth and Falteres were lulled by the quiet war that was taking place, but somehow someone was able to create that ship, and it is impressive, Gora admits, and the words burn in his throat as he speaks them. It is not known to us. This is the future. How is that possible? Geyer asks. You know the time travel game better than I do, Father. I came here to save your life. You'll die in a week due to a weapon that will annihilate a large portion of our world. I saw the videos you took, and I have to save your life. Geyer smirks. I cannot die, my son. I know the tapes you're speaking about. I took them some time ago. This steel ball type thing that was chasing you, you made that as well? Geyer releases the choke and looks baffled. His face contorts as he tries to regain his composure. What are you talking about? Alto was attacked by some steel ball-type weapon? I know there is a weapon designer at Falteri's, but we're going to apprehend him. The videos I made were meant to make you think that I had died. But if you don't know about this weapon, it is possible that you could die, Father. I'm here to save you. Geyer smacks his son hard across the face and sends him sprawling to the floor. He stands over him and shakes his head. You save me? You are weak, Gora. You've let me down in how you fought the war against our foes, knowing what you know. You sat and watched shows by that pathetic creature Trake when you could have been wiping out all of Altair's people. You set in motion the standstill war which Sabal then continued after you were gone. Even now, there's a stale feeling to this war, and I'm going to be forced to do something dramatic to turn things in our favor. But we're winning the war. Earth is embarrassed. Falteres is impotent in terms of their willingness to fight. The writing's on the wall, and it's only a matter of time before we achieve ultimate victory. Geyer tilts his head sideways as the son slowly gets to his feet and takes a step back from him. You see, I came to this future to gain knowledge and to come back to our world and be the rightful king. I do not intend to stay in the future, and I never did. I will kill our toughest foes here and go home to be seen as a ruler of our people for eternity. I do mean eternity, as I will never die. No man's immortal, Gora says, taking another step back from his father. He had almost forgotten how cruel Geyer could be. He tended to idealize the relationship he had with his father and see it as a caring bond rather than one of master and servant. He's remembering his place rather quickly as this exchange continued. My son, how many times have I tried to explain to you that we are not merely men? You have taken my heartless attitude towards your generals. You have taken my belief that we are the ultimate power in this universe. You've kept yourself free from romantic entanglements and any attachment to the people around you. But you still believe we are mortal? Geyer's very upset with his son's lack of faith in his immortality. I know I am mortal. Maybe if you explain your immortality to me, Father, I will become enlightened on the subject. Gora says as he stands his ground. He's well aware Geyer has not put his weapon away, or even taken his finger off the trigger. Then I shall enlighten you, my son, Geyer says. He grabs Gora by the arm and takes him away. This might be the last time they spend together. That's the end of that chapter. So, pretty quickly you figure out, so Geyer's the real bad guy here. Because he sees his own kid and a general of his, and first thought is, well, I'm going to kill a general. Because that's automatic. Hell are you doing here? Alright, well, I'm going to kill that guy. I don't really care what that's going to do to the timeline. Geyer doesn't really care about what he's doing to the timeline. And then we start seeing how destructive that is. But you can see the book is pretty darn close to being finished. So. And I was so happy when I brought Geyer into the book. I was so happy when I was writing that. Like, yes, finally, the real bad guy. I get to put the real bad guy in. Because Gora was always the B level, the not as good villain as the original. So I was very happy about that. Oh, there's commercials.
Are you surprised? So many commercials.
Have you been watching for me?
No, I haven't looked back there once.
Have you been?
Not once. Haven't looked once. But look at how many caps I just pinned. Look at that.
Good job. That's what, 5?
No, that's a lot.
6?
1, 2,
6.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 pinned.
So 6, just upside down.
I got 9. Got something on your jersey. Here we go.
So
got 9 done.
There you go.
Awesome.
So, Into the Void, we're getting closer to the end of that. And then I've got parts 4 and 5 downloaded to my computer.
There you go.
I went into my Amazon and downloaded them both to my computer. So, after the first trilogy's done, I'm going to take a break. We're going to do Run, which is a little more adult than this. And it's not a science fiction novel.
And it's shorter.
Well, it's just one book.
Right.
This is 3 books into one.
Right.
And so we'll do that, and then I'll go back and do 4 and 5 of Into the Void, and then that's it. I don't have any more books to read, because, But someday the books will be how I make my money. That was the plan.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
That was the plan.
I don't know that you'll ever have time.
Someday being an author would be my full-time job.
Yeah, love you. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I sold 2 books in the last month. I bought both of them. So, pure profits going into my bank account from my books. Pure profit.
That's not how. No.
Yep, pure
It
profit.
definitely costs you more than you make.
Pure profit.
It's not. No. Sorry, that's not how that works.
At least with the videos, at least it makes up for like 25 cents a video. As long as people enjoy them, right? We've been we've been in this quarantine for 73 days now.
It's a long time.
It is. I'm kind of going stir crazy.
I know.
It's getting to the point where I'm like, okay, so this can be the same as yesterday, and tomorrow's gonna be the same as today, and then the next day's gonna be the same.
I know.
I want to.
This is why I've been trying to do fun things
go out
at home with the kids.
I want to go do stuff,
I know.
and
especially as it gets warm. I think that's what's making it harder.
no,
Well,
it's.
not today.
I think it's the time.
I think with the.
I think it's just the amount of time.
Well, that does it too.
So, anyways, hopefully everybody's healthy and safe out there watching this, and yeah. So I'm gonna try to get that finished off over the next, I'll say, week, and then we can get into Run. I really enjoyed doing Run. Run was very, very quickly done, and it's a thriller. It's like a Dean Koontz type thing. There's more gore in that. I don't know that I'll be able to gloss over some of the swearing in it. Well, it's about a serial killer.
Right.
So
You've told me the premise of it.
Yeah. Serial killers pursuing somebody, and so, but it starts in, I think it starts in Saskatchewan and it ends up in BC, and then she ends up in Chilliwack, and then the killer ends up in Chilliwack, and then everything goes haywire from there. And yeah, the nice thing with Run though is that usually with that kind of thing you'll have some like major setup and this big, get ready for when they're going to meet the killer, and I don't do that at all. There isn't some major set. It's just all of a sudden, oh, okay, okay, it's happening now. All right. Because while I was writing it, I thought, when this character rounds the corner, they should just be face to face with the killer, because nobody would expect that. All right, that's what we're gonna do. Yep, and then there he is. Yeah, all right. Here's what now it's gonna happen. So, yeah, so it's a little bit different than what I've been reading to you fine people, and we'll see how that does. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I do not expect people to be browsing their way through and happen upon this video. So thank you guys for subscribing who haven't, and if you haven't yet, feel free. And thank you guys for all your support. Anybody who's curious about the cat tree, it is all Shadow's right now. Shadow has both cat trees. He's the only cat on the cat trees right now.
It's because it was full of kitties earlier.
Yes, all 4 cats were in here during the live stream we had earlier on the channel, so that was kind of fun. All right, thanks again for all your support, and she's almost done the surgical caps. No, you've only got another...
like 100 or so.
Yeah, you can do that. All right, thanks again for all your help and all your support. Sounds like the kids are destroying the house, which is pretty standard, and we will talk to you again soon.